Hey there everyone, my name is Akash Dev. Today is my day 24th of hashtag 30 days of talking to camera challenge, and the date today is 15th of August 2023. Today is also the Independence Day for my country, that is India, and I feel very proud while sharing this and while recording the video on this Independence Day. I don't know why I just shared that information, but I just felt like I have to do, so I just did. And this is actually not a scripted video. I'm just talking to camera whatever I feel like. Till now, in my previous videos, I have covered many DSA topics like stacks, queue, linked list, hashing, hash map, hash table, hash functions, and like doubly linked list, singular linked list, different type of searching and sorting and algorithms. I have covered many things. I have discussed about many more topics. If you want, you can just go and watch those videos of mine. And one more thing, if you want really good explanation of those videos, you could refer the videos of Abdul Bari sir, or you could just refer any book or just read articles on GFG or any other websites. So that's all, and let's start today's topic. And the topic which I am going to start today is one of my favorite topics in the whole data structures and algorithms part, and the name of this topic is graph. Now let's understand what is a graph. A graph simply means a finite set of nodes called vertices. Like graph has two parts: a finite set of nodes called vertices and some edges which connect one vertex to another. Trees are also a type of graph, and linked list and binary trees, heaps, all of them are a type of graph. Like they can be called as a subset of graph. Now let us take some real world example where graph data structures are used. First example, you may have used Google Maps. In Google Maps, Google shows you the shortest distance from your location to your destination. So what happens there is, it also uses graph data structure and the shortest path finding algorithm there. Various locations in there can be represented as vertices of the graph, and path between them are represented by edges of the graph. Graph theory algorithms are used to suggest the shortest and quickest path between two locations. Some more examples, like Facebook and friend suggesting algorithms. Each user profile is like a vertex in the graph, and the friend relationship is represented by the edges of the graph. Graph theory algorithms are used for friend suggestion also. Now third one is topology sorting. Topology sorting is a method to find sequence in which some event need to be performed to complete some task by looking into the dependency of various events on each other. For example, a sequence of classes that we take to become a graduate in computer science, or a sequence of steps that we need to take to become ready for jobs daily. Fourth one, transportation network. Maps of airlines is represented as graphs. Various airports are represented as nodes of the graph, and if there is a non-stop flight from airport U and airport V, then there in the graph there is an edge from node U to node V. You may also want to go from one location to another. Through graph theory algorithms, we can compute shortest, quickest, or the cheapest path from our source to destination. I hope all this was clear. Now let's move forward. Now let me tell you the proper exact definition of a graph. Like suppose someone asks you a question that what is a graph? Tell me what is a graph. So what you can answer in that place. So if someone asks you what is a graph, so you can say a graph is represented by a ordered pair G, where G is equals to V comma E, where V is a finite set of points called vertices and E is a finite set of edges. Each edge is a pair UV, where UV belongs to V. Small u small v, where small u small v belongs to capital V, where capital V is a set of all the vertices. I hope this was clear. Let's move forward. Now it's very important for us to understand some basic graph terminologies. So what are these basic graph terminologies? First one is undirected graph. What is an undirected graph? An undirected graph is a graph in which edges have no directions. Here the edges of a graph are two ways, and edge xy is identical to edge yx. So what I am trying to say, suppose I have a graph with three nodes, that is node A, node B and node C. Now node A is connected to node B, and node A is also connected to node C, and node B and node C are connected. So here it forms a triangle, and the edges of and the vertices of the triangles are represented as nodes, that is A, B and C. So here what happens is the edge AB is similar to edge BC. There is no difference. That is, you can also understand it by the scalar and vector concept. The directed graph, you can understand it like a vector thing, and the undirected graph you can understand it as a scalar thing. It is not exactly the same thing, but but just for understanding you can think it like this. Now as I have already said, then AB is equals to BC, or AB is equals to BA, AC is equals to CA. In this case we call it as undirected graph. Now next term, directed graph, or directed graph is also directed graph can also be called as digraph. So what is a digraph? A digraph is a graph in which edges have a direction. Here the edges of graphs are one way, and edge xy is not identical to edge yx. So suppose like A is connected to B and C, and A is also connected to C, like I have mentioned in the previous video. And suppose like A is pointing to C, C is pointing to B, and B is pointing to A. So in this case AB is not similar as BA. So AB would be similar to minus BA, that is in the inverse relation. Now the third point, weighted graph. So what is a weighted graph? A weighted graph is a graph in which all its edges has a weight. Suppose let's take my previous example, A, B and C. Suppose the weight from A to B is 1, the weight from B to C is 3, and the weight from C to A is 2. So A to B 1, A to C. Here I am not considering the directed graph. Here I am considering the undirected graph. So suppose if I am saying C to A, then you can also think of it as A to C or C to A, because it's undirected. AC and CA both are equal. Now suppose what is the meaning of weight. Suppose let me give you a real life example. Suppose you want to go from location A to location B. Suppose the location B is like 5 kilometers at a distance from location A. So you may have to take a rickshaw to drop you at that location, and that rickshaw person would charge you some amount. Suppose the rickshaw person would charge you like 10 rupees, and so the weight between A to B, that is the weight of the edge A to B, is 10. And suppose there is another place C, and the distance from A to C, if you take a rickshaw for A to C, then that person would take 2 rupees, and then if you take again from C to B, then that person will take 7 rupees. So the indirect direction, the total edge will be 7 plus 2 9, and this and the like previous direction which was directly A to B, if I go from A to B, then it would cost me 10 rupees, and if I go from A to C, then C to B, then it would cost me 9 rupees, because 7 plus 2 is 9. So I hope this thing was clear. Like it's a little bit of tricky, but you can visualize it very well, because it's very simple. Now let's come to our next type of graph, which is unweighted graph. So what is unweighted graph? An unweighted graph is a graph in which edges do not have any weight associated with them, similar as the undirected graph. Now comes our next point, path. So what is a path? A path is basically a sequence of edges between two vertices. The length of a path is defined as the sum of the weight of all the edges in this path. I have already explained path in my previous videos. So if you want to know what is a path, you can go and visit my previous videos, and if you want a more detailed explanation, then I would again recommend you to go and search it on Google, because in my videos I am not able to explain you the concepts very well, because here I am just speaking in front of the camera. I am not using any other material like drawing board or something like that, a blackboard or something like anything similar to that. So I am not using those things. That's why I recommend you to go and read articles on any online website where you can get a proper understanding of these things. I can just like explain you a little bit. So what is a path? Path is a distance which is non-repeated distance. Path is a path, you can consider path as a walk in which neither an edge is repeated nor a vertex is repeated, nothing is repeated. And there are two types of there is a subdivision of path which is simple path. So what is a simple path? A path with distant vertices is called a simple path. Now adjacent vertex. What are the adjacent vertex? Two vertices U and V are adjacent if there is an edge between endpoints are U and V. So suppose let me take an example. Like I taken an example of A, B, C and D. Suppose there is a graph in a a quadrilateral shaped graph in which its four vertices are 4 nodes, that is A, B, C and D. So A is connected to B, and A is connected to B, B is connected to C, C is connected to D, and D is connected to A. So in this case A and D are adjacent vertex, A and B are adjacent vertex, but A and C are not adjacent vertex, B and D are not adjacent vertex, B and C are adjacent vertex, A and D are adjacent vertex. So likewise, I hope you are able to visualize this thing. This was really very simple concept, and you can understand it as the vertices which are not connected by any edge are adjacent vertices, and if there is any one edge, at least one edge between them, then it is not an adjacent vertex. I hope this was clear. I have explained it. I think I have explained it very well. Now let's move forward to our next topic. Before going on to our next topic, I want to discuss a small thing, that is in degree and out degree. So what is meant by in degree and out degree? Suppose I have given a directed graph. So in directed graph there is one vertex at which the edge is coming, and there is one vertex from where the edge is going. So the vertex from where the edge is going could be termed as out degree, and the vertex where the edge is coming is termed as in degree. What is in degree? In degree, what is degree of a vertex? So the degree of a vertex is the number of edges coming out or coming in that graph is the degree of that vertex. For an undirected graph, we could simply call it as a degree, and for directed graph, we can call it as in degree or out degree, because in directed graph, any vertex is either coming to an edge. Sorry, every edge is either coming to a vertex or every edge is either leaving from a vertex. So if an edge is either coming to a vertex and either leaving from a vertex, so in that case we can't call it simply as degree, we need to call it as in degree and out degree. And if an edge is coming to a vertex, then we call it as in degree, and if a edge is going out from a vertex, then we can call it as out degree. I hope this was clear. I have explained it pretty well in a very simplified manner. Now let's talk about our next term, which was previously our next topic. It is called cycle. So what is basically a cycle? Cycle is basically a path in which the starting and end point is same. So let me read the definition for you guys. A cycle is a path that starts and ends at the same vertex and includes at least one vertex. So it's obvious that if the start and end point is same, so at least one vertex would be present there. I don't know how then the exposure lock was set on and the zoom effect was also turned on. So I just stopped the video and I'm recording this video again. Sorry for the disturbance. So yeah. An edge is a self loop if two of its endpoints coincide. This is a form of a cycle. So a loop is also a form of a cycle in which only one vertex is present. I hope this point is clear. Now let's move on to our next point, and these points are very simple. I will just cover it in a very fast manner so that you can get a proper understanding of these things. You may have a doubt that okay, you are telling that these are very simple and I am covering it in. I am also telling that I will be covering these things very fast, and you will also get a very better understanding. So isn't these two things coinciding with each other? No, these are not coinciding with each other. Let me explain you. And after I explain you, you can say that okay, I understood these things and the explanation was pretty well, and we are able to visualize those things. And even if you are not able to visualize these things, or you are facing any difficulties, please don't give me a negative comment. I will record a good video in the near future. So please forgive me if the video qualities from now onwards go down, because this is currently the third take, and every time after I recorded, then when I saw the recording, then I saw that after a few minutes of recording, the recorder stops automatically. So I was not able to know that if the video was actually recording or not. So that's why currently I am using my front camera of my mobile phone to record these videos, and while I am using my front camera, so that time I am not able to focus, give my whole focus on the camera lens, but rather I watches most of the time, and whether the recording is going on or not, or how am I looking into the camera. So forgive me if I do those mistakes, because I am still learning. And yeah, let's move forward. Now one more important point: cyclic graph. So what is a cyclic graph? A cyclic graph is a graph that has one or more cycles in it. A graph which has one or more cycles in it is called a cyclic graph. Now you may have one more question, that if there is something that exists as cyclic graph, then there must be a term called acyclic graph. Yes, you are right, there is a term called acyclic graph also. So what is the acyclic graph? Acyclic graph is simply the opposite of cyclic graph. As in cyclic graph, the graph contains either one or more than one cycles. Similarly, in acyclic graph is a graph which contains no cycle. I hope this was clear, and this makes complete sense, right? Acyclic is the opposite of cyclic. So if cyclic contains cycles, then acyclic would contain no cycle. Quite simple, right? Now let's move forward. Now there comes some more points. One is directed acyclic graph. So what is a directed acyclic graph? A directed graph that does not have any cycle is called a directed acyclic graph. I have already covered what is directed graph in my previous, in this video only, but in the previous part of the recording. Second, what is reachable? A vertex V is reachable from vertex U, or U reaches V if there is a path from U to V. In an undirected graph, if V is reachable from U, then U is reachable from V. However, in a directed graph, it is possible that U reaches V, but there is no path from V to U. So what I am trying to say, I was just reading the definition for you guys, and now let me explain these things to you. What is meant by reachable? So what is reachable? Reachable means if something can be reached by another thing. So suppose there are two vertices, one is U and one is V. This is U and this is V. My left hand is U and my right hand is V. Now, if there is a path by which I can go from U to V, it could be like any path, There could be n number of nodes in between. But if the end I am getting into V, then I can say that V can be reached through U. Or if the graph is an undirected graph, then if V can be reached through U, then the vice versa is also true. That is, U could also be reached from V. Both the cases are true. But in case of directed graph, it is not always true that if V could be reached by U, then U could be reached by V. Suppose the V, between V and U there is only one edge, that is from U to V. Then in this case, V could be reached from U, but U can't be reached from V. And if there is one edge and like one more edge, like something like this and this, so then we can say that V can be reached from U, and then we can say that V can be reached from U and U can also be reached from V. But this case is not always true. I hope the concept of reachable was clear. Now let's move forward to our next subheading or our next topic. A graph can be called as connected if for any two vertices there is a path between them. Suppose here is a graph with vertex A, B and C, and here is another graph. Here A, B and C are connected, and in other graph I have only one vertex, that is D. But the vertex D is not connected with any vertex of this graph. Then this is called a disconnected graph. And if D is also connected, then it is called a connected graph. Now you may have a question in your mind: if D is different, if D is not at all connected, then why am I not considering D as a different graph and ABC as a totally different graph? You have to understand one thing. Suppose there is a map, and in a map that ABC is a different city and like D is a different city, like D is a different place, and in between there is a river, and there is no path from the river from this state to the river. Suppose D is an island, so there is no path. So should I consider D is a different graph? No, both are the part of the similar map only, right? D is also the part of that map only, and ABC is also the part of that map only. So why would I consider D as a different graph? ABC is a unique graph, and D is also included in the graph. Just the thing is, D is not connected with A, B and C. I hope this was clear. Now let's move forward. If you have any confusion in this thing, you can just comment me. Now there are two more points, that is strongly connected graph and weakly connected graph. Both of these points are true only in the case of directed graph. These are not true in the case of undirected graph. So what is meant by strongly connected component? A directed graph may have different subgraphs that are strongly connected. These subgraphs are called strongly connected components. So what is meant by strongly connected graph? A strongly connected graph is a directed graph if for each pair of vertices U and V there is a path from U to V and from V to U. Suppose there is a directed graph, I can call it as strongly connected only when for each pair of vertex U and V there is a path by which I can go from U to V and V to U, and it is called a weakly connected graph if I can go either from U to V or either from V to U. I can't go both ways. So if I can't go both ways, then it is called a weakly connected graph. If I can go both ways, then it is called a strongly connected graph. And the weakly connected graph, there exists a term weakly connected components, and for strongly connected graph there exists a term strongly connected components. Both of these things are very similar, pretty much similar. You can understand it. If you are able to understand one thing, then the other thing is just the vice versa of the previous thing. So you can visualize the other thing as well. Now one more point, and this is very important. That is a complete graph. So what is meant by a complete graph? A graph is complete if any vertex is connected by an edge to all the other vertices of the graph. A complete graph has maximum number of edges. For an undirected graph of n vertices, the total number of edges will be n minus 1 by 2, and for a directed graph the total number of edges would be n minus 1. So what is meant by a complete graph? A complete graph is simply a graph in which all the vertices are connected to all the other directly, like all the vertices are adjacent of each other. Yeah, I think that would be a more appropriate definition of a complete graph. A complete graph is a graph in which all the vertices are adjacent of each other. Now spanning subgraph. So what is a spanning subgraph? A spanning subgraph of a G which connects all the vertices of G. A forest is a graph without cycle. A tree is a connected graph with no cycle. There is only one simple path between any two vertices U and V. If you remove any edge of a tree, it becomes a forest. So what is a forest? Forest is simply a graph without cycles. It may be connected or it may not be connected. But what is a tree? A tree is also considered as a graph without cycles, but trees should always be connected. So what is the difference between tree and forest? Tree and forest both are the type of grass which doesn't contain a cycle, and the only difference between them is forest may be connected or may not be connected, but tree should always be connected. Now one more very important topic, what is a spanning tree? So a spanning tree is a tree from a graph which connects all the vertices. Let me read its definition once. A spanning tree of a graph is a tree that connects all the vertices of a graph. And one more thing is, since spanning tree is a tree, that means a spanning tree can't contain any cycle. Now these are some small definitions. I would just read them from the book, and whenever I feel like explaining it, I would explain it to you guys. So Hamiltonian path. What is a Hamiltonian path? A Hamiltonian path is a path in which every vertex is visited exactly once with no repeats. It does not have to start and end at the same vertices, right? Quite simple. Hamiltonian circuit. Hamiltonian circuit is a Hamiltonian path such that there is an edge from its last vertex to its first vertex. A Hamiltonian circuit is a circuit that visits every vertex exactly once, and it must start and end at the same vertex. Eulerian path is a path in the graph that visits every edge exactly once. Or Eulerian circuit is an Eulerian path which starts and ends on the same vertex. Or Eulerian circuit is a path in the graph that visits every edge exactly once, and it starts and ends on the same vertex. Now here comes a famous problem that we can solve using graph. The name of that problem is traveling salesman problem. So traveling salesman problem basically says that there is a salesman who needs to visit various cities. He looks up the distance between each city and puts the distance in a graph. In what order should he travel to visit each city? In the end, return home city with the least distance travel. This problem can be rephrased as find lowest cost Hamiltonian circuit. So I hope all the things which I have discussed in this video was clear to you guys. I would consider making one more video on the graphs to explain some more concept of the graph theory to you guys, and let's keep up to this only. I want to say one more important thing is, I was thinking that if my college doesn't reopen after I complete my 30 days, then I would continue to record videos for more like 2 to 3 days until my college reopens. And even in my college, whenever I get free time, I would try to record 1 or 2 videos and post them on YouTube. Since no one is watching my videos, I am just doing it for my practice and to maintain consistency. While I am recording, while I am speaking to camera, that time I am also reading the book and also understanding the things. Otherwise, I could have never imagined that I could read a whole book. Otherwise, I could not ever imagine that I could read a whole book, a whole data structures and algorithms book. So since I have to record the video, then at that time I am reading the book also. So recording videos are helping me in many ways to improve my communication skills, to improve my skills to talk in front of the camera, to improve my English speaking skills, to improve my skills of reading from a book and understanding the things and making it understand to different people. I know I am not the best teacher. I am not able to make you understand the things very well, but I am trying my best. And even if I was provided with some more stuff, some more like props to make videos, then I would definitely use them. Since my goal for these videos are just to improve my communication and English skills, and anything that I am improving by recording these videos are like bonus for me. And yeah, that's all for today. Let's keep up to this only, and thank you so much for your support, guys. I have read some of your comments and I really loved them. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye, all the best.